Africa's sports reporter Philasande was able to chat to Thabang's legal team, and this is what they had to say about the continuation of the suspension.
In regards to the main charges, you would have seen the almost wide publication of very vague, and you can test them for yourself, very vague allegations pertaining to our client. And our client is like any accused person, standing ready to attend to some of those allegations when the time comes. But I think it is imperative that I state that for the present time, our client has reported for work, and until indicated otherwise, he'll continue to do what he must do as a loyal and diligent employee of CSA South Africa. CSA, that is.
All right, I'm joined on the line by Phila just to chat about this a bit further. Good morning, Phila. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm just listening to Michael over there saying that the reports are very vague. Is he trying to say that they haven't told them what exactly that Thabang has done?
Yeah, good morning, Tumi. Good morning to all the Weekend Dawn viewers. Look, it's such a sensitive period, particularly for Thabang Moroe, who has been suspended for the last 6 months. We know that CSA's drama has been well documented over the last year and a half, and it really came to a head in December 2019, where they suspended Thabang Moroe, the chief executive of Cricket South Africa, for allegations of misconduct and mismanagement at Cricket South Africa. And essentially, you know, that 6 month suspension lapsed in last week Friday. So it's been 6 months and a bit now that, you know, that suspension has been ongoing. And I think, you know, Thabang felt a little bit frustrated being sitting on the sidelines, knowing that an investigation hasn't been concluded into those allegations of misconduct against him. So I think, you know, and speaking to his legal representative, Michael Bull, this past week, you know, at the time that I spoke to them, they were not contemplating any legal action against CSA, but, you know, that might change now that CSA has come out and say that Thabang has, you know, continues to be suspended until the investigation is complete. I know that they have a media opportunity on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, with the president and chairman of the board, Mr. Chris Nenzani, to try and, you know, put to bed some of the issues that are lingering with this situation where Thabang Moroe has been suspended. We also know that Dr. Jacques Faure, the former CEO of the Titans, is the acting CEO at Cricket South Africa, which puts a bit of a spanner in the works, because there's now 2 CEOs at Cricket South Africa, which I think would be in the best interest of the board to try and wrap up this investigation and get some clarity and some parity within its organization, and of course try and salvage some bit of trust and faith from the cricket public as well.
And I'm glad that you mentioned the fact that now there are 2 CEOs, because Thabang Moroe's case is not concluded yet. But Phila, am I right to say that this is a reflection on the kind of relationship that Thabang perhaps has had with Cricket South Africa, and it's only coming to the fore right now?
It is, to me. I think it paints a really dire situation, particularly with the relationship between him and the board. I know that, you know, Cricket South Africa has had a lot of boardroom issues over the last year and a half, in terms of, you know, who has power there. I know that the board really did relinquish a lot of power from themselves onto Thabang Moroe to try and run the ship. And I think that was a little bit of, you know, posed a big sort of stress for Thabang Moroe. He, you know, had all this power, but, you know, he didn't have, I don't think he felt the support of the board in trying to implement some of the strategies and the tasks that needed to be executed from an operational point of view. I think one of the most concerning things was the Mzansi Super League and how that was handled. You know, Cricket South Africa really pushed to have that competition up and running We now know it's been 2 seasons of MSL, and I think it hasn't been received as much. And I think that's the relationship that they have had in the past year and a half.
The question is then, where did things go wrong? Because I would believe that when they put him in charge, they believed that he was capable of, seeing through the responsibilities that he needs to see through as a CEO.
I think, in any organization, you need to have trust and support within the organization itself, and the people that you put in place in those, top positions like CEO. I think that Thabang didn't feel necessarily supported by the board, and therefore a lot of things, sort of fell through the holes, so to speak, in terms of the execution. And I think that's where things really fell apart for Cricket South Africa. They had this whole big plan of launching this Mzansi Super League, this lucrative T20 competition in South Africa, but there wasn't really a lot of support for the CEO who was trying to get this competition off the ground. So I think the partnership was never based on a solid, trustworthy system and relationship between board level and, of course, from an operational level, which filters through down to the CEO and the other people that are tasked with implementing those strategies and those operational duties.
I'd like to hear from you, though, just your thoughts on how Cricket South Africa is handling this matter as a whole. Is it fair on Thabang?
I think it's difficult to say, Tumi, because, we have a board that has also been under pressure. There's been a lot of resignations from that board, and of course now some of those vacancies have been filled by other members. But it's a board that has been quite dysfunctional in the past 2 years, and I think they haven't treated this situation regarding the suspension of the CEO with any sensitivity. They've left it to linger for so long, and a lot of people and the most important stakeholders in the cricket organization have been feeling a lot of anxiety around this situation. When will this investigation be concluded? So everybody can try and pick up the pieces and return Cricket South Africa to where it was. But I think it would be in the best interest of Cricket South Africa to try and wrap up this investigation as quickly as possible, so that some sort of parity can prevail over the organization and its operational structures. They've tried to do that in the past 6 months since they've put in made a lot of key appointments. Of course, the acting CEO and Dr. Jacques Fall, I think he's done a really great job in trying to put together some sort of a working system. And of course, the director of cricket, Graham Smith, from a cricket point of view, cricket operations point of view, has also done a commendable job in trying to organize the structures of the different teams of Cricket South Africa. But from a board perspective, they really need to try and wrap up this investigation as soon as possible, so that all the pieces of Cricket South Africa can sort of align and bring back a solid structure to lead cricket again.
Do you think if this matter is not solved anytime soon, yes, we've seen the likes of Graham and Jacques coming in and obviously doing a good job here and there, but if this matter is still lingering, will it eventually affect the field of play?
It definitely does. A lot of the players, particularly the players' organization, SACA, has expressed their disappointment and their sort of anxiety around the situation that hasn't been wrapped up timelessly. It does affect the players. A lot of the players that I've been speaking to are saying that it makes them difficult to focus on their primary job, which is to play cricket and represent their country out on the field. because they don't feel like board matters are stable enough. They fear for the futures. And if you don't have a solid structure at the top, at board level, it will always filter down to the playing structures, and the players lose confidence in the board, and they look for opportunities elsewhere. And I think that's going to be the eventual sort of crumbling and stumbling block of Cricket South Africa, should they not wrap up this investigation and get some sort of parity in place in terms of the organizational structures. Hopefully on Tuesday, when Chris Nenzani does brief the media on some of the operational occurrences at the top, they'll come with a look. This is where we're at with the investigation, because it's been very quiet over the last 6 months. Where is the investigation and what point has it reached? So hopefully we can get some clarity on Tuesday, and that this situation can be finally put to bed.
Well, thank you.